Now welcome to a slightly different type of video from us. Today we're going to review the new TCG Star Wars Unlimited. And for those who don't know, that means a trading card game, a collectible trading card game.
Well, collectibles are in our wheelhouse, so...
Well, absolutely, yeah.
That is collectible, so I guess we can talk about it.
So we picked up the 2 starter deck pack, which has a Vader deck and a Luke Skywalker deck.
I think you can guess which one I was playing.
Yeah, there was no way I was going to get to play Vader. Not that I wanted to, I'd rather play Luke.
Vader for life!
We also bought a box of cards of 24 packs to open. And so let's begin by talking about, we played a few games, not a ton. But
we played a few.
We played quite a few.
We're familiar with trading card games, so...
Yeah. My experience, I started to play Magic back in the mid-90s when, Revive, if you know Magic, I started to play when Revised came out. I've played the game on and off for the last, basically, 30 years. We both now play the game Flesh and Blood. Been playing that for a couple of years, actually.
I love that game.
Fantastic game. Blows Magic out of the water, but that's a whole other story. And so you've had a ton of experience with TCGs as well, so...
Yes. I do recommend buying the starter deck 2-pack. It was a lot better than I thought it would be. It came with 2 paper posters of, one of each hero, but those you could flip over and use as a playmat, so each person got their own playmat to kind of see the zones of where you're supposed to put the cards. That was nice.
It was really handy because it had the playmat, it had the zones, and then it had kind of the instructions and some little reminders on it. I mean, it's paper.
It had the little cardboard cutout tokens.
Yeah, that was very nice too.
Because you do need tokens to play
damage,
this. For damage and for other things like initiative. And it's kind of nice to have those counters, which you do not get in the...
Just buying boxes.
Yeah, just buying boxes. They don't come with those.
Yeah, and I felt like the decks were pretty well balanced because we kind of split the games, I think, more or less.
Yeah.
They were pretty close games. It wasn't like we blew each other out of the water.
No, and once we started getting more strategic, it got to be a little more fun.
Yeah, because the first couple games were like, what does that do? Like, you're showing me, what do you think this card does? It's like, well, I think you probably shouldn't show me that, but...
Well, we kept going back and forth to the rulebook, which was actually really good, really comprehensive. It covered any question that I had.
Yeah, though to be fair, I have been watching videos up until this point from...
And I went in not playing or watching anything.
You knew nothing and you picked up the game in a matter of minutes. Literally minutes. And I had pretty much a good understanding of how to play it and what the cards were all about and the rarities and all that fun stuff too. I've been kind of studying, doing my homework, if you will.
But I think the decks played, like you said, they were very balanced. They played against each other well. They kind of stuck with their themes of what each deck did. I mean, the Empire deck that I was playing had a bunch of TIE fighters and stuff. I had ground assault vehicles, which were amazing. Yeah. My stuff may have costed more resources, but if I got them out there, it just devastated you.
Yeah, you would get a Star Destroyer or an AT-AT, and my guys would just crumble at that. But if I could beat you before that, that was kind of the goal. I was
you had
more
to race me, yeah.
Yeah, I was more of an aggro deck where I get a lot of dudes out quick, and you were more of a, if I live, you're going to get blasted by a Super Star Destroyer from orbit, which is not fun.
Well, I really liked the AT-ATs. I totally decimated you in one game with AT-AT.
You did, yes. That overwhelming power or whatever.
I had 12 resources because you need resources to play cards, and I was able to overwhelm and just blow out your field and then attack with them. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun, and you could definitely tell, though these are obviously starter decks and they're not the most complex thing in the world, you could tell there's a lot of strategy in the game, which is what I was kind of worried about because it feels, when you look at it from afar, and if you have experience in the TCG market or playing TCG games, sometimes games just kind of it's pretty basic and kind of that's it. This you can tell, especially since this is set 1, there's a lot of places they can go. I can definitely see this being a very strategic and very fun game to play. I mean, we had fun while we played it.
Absolutely.
It is a little derivative of Magic, I would say, with the
There's a little piece of Magic in it. There's a little piece of...
Yeah, it takes
a bunch of different things, even from Lorcana, so that newer game.
Yeah,
Disney.
It's very similar to Lorcana.
There's a lot of Lorcana elements you can see in this as well.
Yes, that you're kind of trying to quest and build up points. Where this you're trying to blow up the other person's base. In this game, you get a base and then a hero, or not a hero, that's a leader, and based on those, it's what kind of cards you can use. Though you can use any cards, you just have to pay more resources. So, in theory, the combinations are unlimited. How you want to build your deck, which is kind of cool. You're not forced to I'm going to be Luke, so I can only play Jedi or Rebels. Now you could technically use anybody you want.
Yeah.
Just got to pay a little extra for them.
There's already a couple of cards that are really fun standout cards out there floating around, but I really like I said, even in the starter, I really like how the 2 decks complement each other. Your deck, the Luke deck, had a hero ability where you could put a shield on your hero, meaning that the next damage that they would take would actually prevent it and go to the shield. Whereas Vader
get to
had an
ping.
ability that if I
Yeah.
played an Imperial unit, I could then do 1 damage to target unit and 1 damage to a base so that I could remove the shields if they started becoming a problem.
Yeah, you basically could counter my ability, but my ability kind of kept your ability from doing anything else. If
Right,
that
because
makes
I couldn't
sense.
use my ability to just start bumping your guys off. Instead, I was just taking shields back off that you were putting on.
Yeah.
So it was pretty balanced back and forth that way.
So yeah, overall, from the limited experience we had, pretty fun to play. And like I said, you can certainly see similarities from to other games, and you could see that there's a lot of room for expansion and to do different things and to be a very strategic. I think it's going to be a very strategic game because it's really
Definitely.
about because you go back and forth in this game. It's not like Magic where it's like my turn, I play all my cards or whatever. I play one card or can take one action, then you do one. So the order you do that in is very critical. Like you got to you got to ask yourself, do I want to attack this person? Do I want to try to go for their base? And there's 2 different zones. There's the air and then the ground units. So like I found games where I was dominating in the air and you had like all the ground units and vice versa, and we were trying to race. Every game kind of felt totally different, despite the fact we're playing with the same 2 decks
Yeah.
continuously, which was cool.
Yeah, the strategy kept changing depending on what we had, what we were able to do with the resources and the cards available at that time. So that was really fun.
Yeah, and I can imagine a lot of different combinations of decks you can do. Though, of course, as is going to be the case at the end of the game, there's going to be the meta deck, right, that everybody
It'll
plays,
come out,
or
yeah.
the meta ones, or these are the cards that are the good cards that everybody plays. But for now, just a ton of fun if you just want to sit around at your table and play the game. If you're not going to be trying to play competitively, which, as far as I can tell, there wasn't. Because I actually looked to see if there were any like pre-releases in my area, other tournaments coming up, and I found like virtually nothing.
No, our shop tried to get one the one we
couldn't,
play at, and
yeah.
they couldn't get one.
And we live, basically between like a Milwaukee and Chicago, so we live in a pretty populated area, and there really wasn't much around us. I'm probably sure there was, but I didn't find anything, unfortunately.
Well, let's talk now about the opening experience when we opened the box of product.
I found that to be, as someone who's opened a lot of card games, I found it to be a pretty enjoyable experience because every pack had the chance for something kind of cool in it.
Yeah, from the super expensive right now showcase heroes, which have like an alternate art to them,
But
to
yeah, for the leaders, yeah.
the hyperspace, which is like a borderless card.
Yeah.
It has they're beautiful. They're absolutely
Oh,
beautiful,
yeah.
especially the hyperspace ones. I really like that with the borderless card, sending it out all the way out to the end. And then there's the chance of the foil card, which you can get a foil or a even rarer hyperspace foil.
Yeah, every pack has one foil, and that foil can be anything from common, uncommon, rare to legendary cards. You get about 3 legendaries per box, so we got I think 4.
Yes.
And so you can technically get like just a normal foil, or you can get like a hyperspace, which is no border, or you can get the hyperspace foil. So there's like 4 versions of pretty much every card except for the leaders, which have the showcases. Though they also come borderless or hyperspace.
I can definitely see if I was really going to be playing
Yeah.
this, that I'd want to get like a whole deck of hyperspace.
Yeah, that's kind of how I
Yeah.
felt. Because one of my
That's the collectible aspect.
Yeah, it's almost too much to like, because if you're kind of that person who really likes to get into it and collect different things, you're almost kind of like conflicted on what you want to collect. Do you want the premier version? Do you want the hyperspace foil? Or maybe you just want the hyperspace, or maybe you're happy with foil. So it's almost too much, but when you're opening it, it's fun because pretty much every pack has something cool in it.
Yeah, and you just don't know what you're going to get because the hyperspace ones can just pop up wherever. So they're not even
Yeah.
like just in the foil area. So you're just randomly opening and you're like, oh, that looks really nice.
Yeah,
The art style for the game.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah. It's kind of all over the board. The cards that look nice look really nice. They almost look like comic drawings.
Yeah, comic panels. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're really nice looking. I very much enjoyed looking at those cards. But then you get to some of the other cards, looking at you, Hero Chewbacca,
Yeah.
that just look like someone who didn't know the character sat down and drew.
Yeah, like they describe to you what a Wookiee should look like.
And you're like,
you
there,
kinda-
that's a Wookiee, right?
Yeah, and no offense to the artist, you draw a million times or paint a million times, whatever. a million
Obviously,
times
they
better than I
chose them
can,
because
but-
they liked the style of art that they did.
Yeah.
But I like, and I know this is like with Magic too, that they hire a whole bunch of artists.
Yes.
The art is not consistent, but I actually like a more consistent feel in my trading card game.
I do.
Our Flesh and Blood game, there's
95%.
95%. It's
yeah.
very consistent across all of the artwork. Every now and again, there's a few cards that look different, and I believe that's actually supposed to be on purpose.
Yeah.
But
I would even say more than 95. That's probably low end. It's probably closer to 99%. Just all are kind of the same art style. You really...
Very close, very similar,
Yeah.
even though they're done by multiple artists.
Yeah. Even though there's like one artist who kind of does some more kind of different style, I feel like.
There's one that every now and again their stuff comes up, and I'm like, oh, we got the weird one again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's cool, but it's like, it
It's just-
feels
it feels a
so
little jarring,
different from
yeah.
everything else. Yeah.
And in this, because the art style is so varied across the cards,
It's so
I'm
inconsistent.
not sure how I feel about that.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And some of it is just better than others. Like, you look at some, you're like, how is this the same game? Because it just feels like the quality is just not on par.
I am a little upset in general, though, with the pricing on the game. I feel like the MSRP on a box is a bit high. I mean, comparing it to, we play Flesh and Blood, so I compare it to the MSRP of that, and
Yeah.
what we generally get those for, like the same amount of cards. And
It was like $20 more, it was.
yeah, that surprised me a bit.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it was hard to get a hold of at shops. Our shop only got
Like two boxes, not even a whole
boxes.
case, yeah.
Yeah, they
I don't
come in
know
a
if that
case of
was-
6
Yeah.
boxes. But our shop was only given 2 boxes, and we took one.
I don't know if that was by choice or what, but yeah.
No, it's
We didn't
what
inquire
their
further,
yeah,
but
it's
yeah.
what their people can get a hold of and give to them.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's not the easiest to get a hold of right now, I guess.
would imagine not. I mean, it's anything new like this, and it's Star Wars, right? You're immediately
Yes.
going to get just a ton of people. Even people who have never played a TCG before, and be like, "Oh, Star Wars! I'm going to try this, or I'm going to buy a box." But yeah, overall, I mean, playing a few games, definitely a fun experience. I wouldn't mind playing more of it.
We'll see how popular it is in our area. If our local shop maybe gets a couple somethings going on with it. Not to mention, we don't know exactly how the limited type experience is for it. Limited meaning you go to an event and they give you X many packs, you build a deck out of it, and you play them with whatever you happen to get.
Yeah, or you
whatever
draft,
you build.
yeah.
Or you draft where everyone gets a pack, you open it up, you take one, you pass
Pass
it
it,
until
yeah.
you make a deck out of
Yeah,
what
which is
you've
fun.
grabbed.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how the limited, I'm going to call it, aspect of this goes.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to hear if anybody else is playing out there, what you have thought of the game so far, if you're planning on, like, getting into this, like, do you play other TCGs? I don't know. I would like to get into it, but again, it's going to require people in the area I live in to play. And one of my biggest problems is I collected way back in the day the original Star Wars TCG. I had no one to play that with. Like, virtually no one played it. So I kind of bought some packs and collected the cool ones and never really played it.
Hey,
Played it a handful
my
of times.
favorite card I'm keeping, it's on my desk right here.
It is, yes.
I have a, it's a rare even. I have a Fetz Fire Spray.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. They couldn't have called it Slave 1. This is Fetz Fire Spray.
Yeah.
Double F. But that is my favorite card right now, and I leave it sitting on my desk because I didn't get a good Vader. I wanted the legendary Vader, I didn't get one.
We got the legendary Luke, actually.
We did.
In hyperspace, nonetheless.
In hyperspace.
Yeah.
But I wanted a Vader. I'm settling for Fetz Fire Spray because I find it funny. Fetz Fire Spray, I find it funny. Nice.
That's a lot of Fs. That's
Alliteration.
A lot of Fs. Fs in the chat for Naboo. That way we'll know if you made it to the end or not. Because that's all we got for you this time. Now it's your turn. Again, take to the comments below. Tell us if you have played it, you're planning on playing it. Do you play other TCGs? Is this something you would be interested in us talking about more? We play a ton of games of all different types. So, video games, card games, board games. God, we play a lot of games. But anyway, take to the comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.